Jesus, who loves the world and everything in it, now speaks to the world a word of endurance, a word of persistence and perseverance. He says that when this temple, which you all believe is indestructible, is destroyed, endure. When false prophets confuse you, persevere. When you are surrounded by violence and war, injustice and insurrection, persist. When climate change causes hurricanes, drought, famines, and plagues, endure. The Gospel of Luke speaks not only about the future of a certain people, but also about the true reality of the first century, when in fact the temple had already been destroyed by the time this gospel was written, when Roman armies had killed and were killing the people and leveling their villages. This gospel sends the reassurance that these things are not the end of the world, but the growth of the way. In this gospel, Jesus stresses that these catastrophes are opportunities to bear witness. And haven't so many other people in the last 2,000 years done the same? St. Paul, Nelson Mandela, Dorothy Day, Mahatma Gandhi, Dorothy Stang, and so very many who today protest against abduction and detention with no due process, who stand against injustice. The persistent march of this Gospel of Luke, which we have read and marked and prayed over since last winter, proclaims the resolute message of endurance and persistence. The endurance of Jesus in the wilderness, tempted by the devil. The enduring teachings of the Beatitudes, which say, "Blessed are you who endure these things." The persistence of the people who stayed and stayed and stayed to hear the message, even when they were hungry. And then the miraculous, the resulting redemptive feeding of those 500 families. The persistence of Jesus the healer, even on the Sabbath, even when pursued and scrutinized, Jesus heals. The endurance of the shepherd and the lost sheep, and the endurance of the woman searching for the lost coin. The persistent widow. In these difficult days of the 21st century, we therefore stand on the shoulders of giants and have the vision to see that we do not stand alone, that our protest is not in vain, that this is not the end, that our sisters and brothers who came before us in faith are models and inspiration and companions on the journey, that we are one with each other in this community and with so many other communities, that when I am weak, you are strong, and vice versa. By our perseverance, we will secure our lives, the gospel says. I was much moved by the poetry of a minister I've often quoted, Steve Garnis Holmes, and his poetic prayers from his website, unfoldinglight.net. This week he wrote, "When sacred structures fall apart, the holy presence will dwell in us ourselves. When people can no longer find forgiveness in old systems, the community of faith itself will have to bear that forgiveness. No single stone is sacred. They are all needed to make a temple. Stay connected. Don't expect society to go your way. Bear witness to another way. When the temple falls, we become the temple. When the world around you descends into darkness, you can still shine with light. Those were the words of Steve Garnis Holmes, and you can find his work on his website, www.unfoldinglight.net.